Good morning, all. See, now here I'm giving you quick revision of haloalkane haloarine. So, haloalkane haloarine, if I want to write in general form, then haloalkane general formula is Rx, haloarine general formula is ARX, right? Let allow all to join once, then we'll start. Okay, so what is haloalkane? So hydrocarbon chains are present in haloalkane, which are saturated, unsaturated or aromatic hydrocarbon. So hydrocarbon is basically of two types, aromatic hydrocarbon and aliphatic hydrocarbon. Aliphatic hydrocarbon again classify into two, saturated and unsaturated. Here the type of haloalkane we are going to study, that is saturated aliphatic hydrocarbon compounds. Here the alkyl chain we are going to take in Rx, that is the saturated aliphatic hydrocarbon compounds we are going to study here. So haloalkane, in that alkane is general formula is having CnH2n plus 2. So this is the most common one, methane. Even we have unsaturated, in that we have alkene and alkyne, but here we are not going to cover these two. Again aromatic hydrocarbon, their aromatic compounds are the one which follow Huckel's rule. What is Huckel's rule? So the ring with 4n plus 2 pi electrons is known as aromatic ring. Here I have benzene ring C6H6. Here I show you proof that how benzene ring is aromatic ring. So this is about aromatic hydrocarbon, this is about aliphatic hydrocarbon or alkyl halides and aryl halides. Then we study about classification of halogen derivatives. If we see classification of halogen derivatives, we can classify halogens on different bases. Sorry for the disturbance. Now if we see classification, we can classify halogen derivatives on three different bases. First is based on type of halogen present, second based on number of halogen atoms present, third based on nature of carbon atom present, and even fourth based on hybridization of carbon atom. So based on halogen present, so we have four different types of halogen, that is fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. So as per that, this is classified into fluoro compounds, chloro compounds, bromo compounds and iodo compounds. Then based on number of halogen atoms present, this is classified into monohalogen derivative, dihalogen derivative, now in monohalogen derivative I have CH3Cl, CH3CH2Cl, which is monohaloalkane compound, while here I have benzene ring with fluorine, that is monohaloarine compound. Then dihalogen derivative, in that two types, geminal dihalides and vicinal dihalides. If both the halogens they are attached to single carbon atom, then that is geminal dihalide. And if both the carbon atoms they are attached to adjacent carbon atoms or neighboring carbon atoms, then this is vicinal dihalide. Dihaloarine compounds, in that based on the position 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, this is orthodihaloarine, metadihaloarine and paradihaloarine. Isha, I think only you are facing this problem. Try to reconnect yourself. Maybe there is problem regarding your internet. Rest all of you, your camera is visible. Your screen is clear. Okay. Then trihalogen derivatives. Trihalogen derivatives, again I have trihaloalkane and trihaloarine compound. So trihaloalkane, in whole alkyl chain 3 halogen atoms are present, then that is trihaloalkane. If I have one ring in which I have 3 halogen atoms present, then that is trihaloarine compound. Tetrahalogen derivative, again in that if 4 halogens present, then this is tetrahaloalkane. In alkyl chain, if I have 4 halogen present, then this is tetrahaloalkane. And if in a ring 4 halogen atoms are present, then that is tetrahaloarine. So this is second type of classification where we are classifying halogen derivatives based on number of halogen atoms present. Third type of classification is based on nature of carbon atom present. The halogen which is attached to the carbon, that carbon may be primary carbon, secondary carbon or tertiary carbon. And based on that, to that we can classify into primary halogen derivative, secondary halogen derivative and tertiary halogen derivative. So see here, this carbon to which halogen is attached, that is attached to only one alkyl chain and two hydrogen atoms. So this derivative is known as primary halogen derivative. While in the second case, if you see, the carbon to which halogen is attached, that is attached to 2 more alkyl chains and one hydrogen atom. And so this type of halogen derivative is known as secondary halogen derivative. Then third type, here your carbon which is attached to halogen, that is attached to all the 3 alkyl chains, not attached to any hydrogen atom, and so this type of halogen derivative is known as tertiary halogen derivatives. This is again one of the very important type of classification which we have to study. That is classification based on hybridization of carbon atom. From this, many time question asked in board exam. Now here we have 3 different types. Now to halogen, to which your carbon, your halogen is attached, that carbon either may be sp3 hybridized, sp2 hybridized or sp hybridized. Carbon to which halogen is attached, that carbon may be sp3 hybridized, sp2 hybridized or sp hybridized. If that is sp3 hybridized carbon, then we have 3 different types under that: haloalkane or alkyl halides, allylic halides and benzylic halide. Dhruv, you join now? Why too early? So haloalkane compound, here halogen is attached to alkyl chain and the carbon to which halogen is attached, that is sp3 hybridized carbon. So that type of haloalkane or alkyl halide come under the class that halogen is attached to sp3 hybridized carbon, and the class of the compound is known as haloalkane or alkyl halides. Different examples I had given: CH3, CH, Cl, CH3. See, this is sp3 hybridized carbon. Even this is secondary carbon. So this is secondary haloalkane compound. This is this is methyl haloalkane compound. This is primary haloalkane. This is also primary haloalkane. This is also primary haloalkane because here, this is secondary haloalkane because the carbon to which halogen is attached, that is attached to two different alkyl chains. One hydrogen is still present. So this is secondary haloalkane. Same way, this is also secondary haloalkane. So haloalkane again may be subdivided into primary, secondary, tertiary. What is primary, secondary, tertiary? About that I already discussed with you. Second is allylic halides. Now what is allylic halide? As I am telling you that this is here your halogen is attached to sp3 hybridized carbon. So the carbon to which halogen is attached, that is sp3 hybridized carbon. See, but that carbon is attached to sp2 hybridized carbon or doubly bonded carbon. Then this type of halides are known as allylic halide. This compound even I can write like this. First carbon to that halogen is attached. Second and third carbon, between them there is double bond present. Actually this is a C and here I have X. And here I have X present. This is first carbon, second carbon, third carbon. Same way here if you see, this is the carbon to which bromine is attached and that carbon is attached to doubly bonded carbon atom. So this is allylic halide. Next is benzylic halide. In benzylic halide, halogen is attached to carbon and that carbon is attached to aryl ring. Halogen is attached to the carbon, that carbon is attached to the benzene ring. So that type of halides are known as benzylic halides. Even if I have benzene ring C, X, H and then CH, here halogen is attached to the carbon which is directly attached to the benzene ring. So this is also benzylic halide. Next is sp2 hybridized carbon containing halogen derivative. Here your halogen is attached to the carbon which is sp2 hybridized carbon. So first type is vinylic halide. See here halogen is directly attached to sp2 hybridized carbon. Even in this case if you see, halogen is directly attached to sp2 hybridized carbon, doubly bonded carbon. Even this case halogen is attached to doubly bonded carbon. So all these are examples of vinylic halide. So here halogen is attached to sp2 hybridized carbon. In this another type is aryl halide. Again here halogen is attached to benzene ring. Benzene ring is having 6 carbon atoms. All the carbon atoms they are sp2 hybridized because all the carbon atoms they are utilized in formation of double bond. Even this is aryl halide, though this group is present but halogen is attached to benzene ring. Last is sp hybridized carbon. So here halogen is attached to triply bonded carbon. So this is sp hybridized carbon containing halogen derivatives. This is about classification of haloalkane haloarine compounds. Nature of CX bond, this is one of the important topic. See CX bond, here you find partial polarity because halogen is more electronegative, partial negative charge on halogen and partial positive charge on carbon. So this result in polarity of bond and always polar bonds are easy to break, so reactivity is good. Bond length, if we compare between fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, iodine is larger in size, result in less overlapping in comparison to fluorine, and so bond length in case of CH3I is highest. So if we see bond enthalpies, as you all know that bond length is inversely proportional to bond enthalpies. higher is the bond length, lesser is the amount of energy required to break that bond, and as per that rule, bond length is highest in case of CH3I and bond enthalpy is least in case of CH3I, while highest in case of CH3F. If we compare their electronegativities, iodine is least electronegative and fluorine is highest electronegative. So as per that, if we have to go for their dipole moment, then CH3I has least dipole moment while CH3F must have highest dipole moment. But here you see one exceptional case, and I always say that whenever there is exceptional case, all the exceptional cases are very important for board exam point of view, even from competitive exam point of view. So here you can clearly see that though CH3Cl has higher dipole, though fluorine is more electronegative than chlorine, CH3Cl has higher dipole moment than CH3F. If we discuss reason after this, then dipole moment is actually dependent on two different factors, charge and distance. Now in case of bromine and iodine, here their charge is very less, distance is more, but though here charge factor predominant in case of bromine and iodine. As you know that bond length increases as we move down in the group. So CH3Br and CH3I, these two, they have highest bond length. As per that, if we multiply Q and D, they must have higher dipole moment. But actually what happens, that in those cases charge predominate, and so in those cases dipole moment value is less in comparison to CH3Cl and CH3F. But when we are coming to comparison between fluorine and chlorine, in that case distance factor predominate, and so here CH3Cl has higher dipole moment in comparison to CH3F. Then we discuss about their IUPAC nomenclature. So IUPAC nomenclature, if I want to write, now here I have two different types of nomenclature, IUPAC and common. So if I have to discuss about haloalkane, then here in this case we have saturated hydrocarbon chain, which is alkane chain. So IUPAC name we write haloalkane, while common name is alkyl halide. Taking different examples here, first we'll go for nomenclature. So if I see CH3, CH2, Cl, IUPAC I have to write chlorine, so chloro, 2 carbon containing hydrocarbon chain, so this is ethane. Then this is also known as ethyl chloride commonly, because this is CH3, CH2. When this is present as a subgroup which is attached to functional group, to that we write ethyl, and functional group present is chloride. Another example, CH3, CH2, CH2, Cl, chloro, 3 carbon propane. As all the 3 carbon atoms are arranged in straight chain, so this is known as normal propyl chloride. Instead, if these 3 carbon atoms arrange this way and chlorine is attached to second carbon atom, IUPAC name we write 2-chloropropane, and in common nomenclature we use term iso. In common nomenclature we use term isopropyl chloride. CH3, CH, CH3, CH2, Cl. Now here chlorine is present on first carbon, on second carbon one another substituent present, that is methyl. We'll arrange these substituents as per alphabetical order. So 1 chloro, 2 methyl, remaining 3 carbon, so this is propane. Now collectively if we see, this is 4 carbon containing compound. In common nomenclature to this chain we'll pronounce as isobutyl chloride. In homework I had given you normal butyl chloride, which is CH3, CH2, 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 Cl. Means 4 carbon they are present in straight chain form, and to one end carbon Cl is attached. So that is your normal butyl chloride. Then next compound is CH3C. Here I have 2 CH3 present, CH2Cl. Again we'll do same thing, number the parent chain. Then on the second carbon I have 2 substituents present, and on first carbon I have chlorine. Again 1 chloro 2,2-dimethyl propane. Count number of carbon atoms, 5 carbon atoms are there. So in common, this arrangement is known as neopentyl arrangement. So the name of the compound is neopentyl chloride. Then we'll discuss about haloarenes. Haloarenes, IUPAC name we write haloarene, while common name we write aryl halide. So first we'll discuss about monosubstituted compounds. In monosubstituted compounds, benzene ring with 1 bromine, IUPAC and common both is same over here, bromobenzene. Same way, if iodine is attached over here, iodobenzene. As you all know that till only one substituent is present, means till only one substituent is present, then in that case wherever the substituent is present, because all the carbon atoms in benzene ring they are identical, to them we'll write this way only. Here we don't have any position, but once there is 2 substituent present, then in that case we'll give numbering in such a way that both the substituents they will get lowest possible number. See, in first case disubstituted benzene ring is present, 2 bromine atoms are present, so I'll number them 1 and 2. So this is 1,2-dibromobenzene as per IUPAC nomenclature, and 1,2 position in common is known as ortho. So this is ortho-dibromobenzene. Second compound, see here 2 chlorine atoms present over here. Then also again we'll number them 1 and 2. This is 1,2-dichlorobenzene according to the IUPAC system, and 1,2 is again known as ortho-dichlorobenzene. For iodo also same way, this is 1,2-diiodo or ortho-diiodobenzene. Then for bromine, if you see here 1, 2, 3. So this is 1,3-dibromobenzene. Commonly this is known as meta-dibromobenzene. Then 1,4-diiodobenzene, para-diiodobenzene. Same way, if chlorine is present on this side, instead of giving numbering from left side, we'll number instead of going this way, we'll go this way so that we have lowest possible number, and the name of the compound is 1,3-dichlorobenzene or meta-dichlorobenzene. This is 1,2-difluorobenzene or ortho-difluorobenzene. Tri-substituted benzene ring. In tri-substituted benzene ring, again we'll number in such a way that lowest possible number we can able to give. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2 and 4 trichlorobenzene. Even another ring, if you see, this is 1,3,5 tribromobenzene. This is also known as symmetrical tribromobenzene in common, because you see the arrangement of bromine is symmetrical. Here now we'll discuss, if I have 2 same halogen atoms present, how to give nomenclature, how to write nomenclature of the compound. So in that case, if halogen is attached to same carbon atom, then this is geminal, or this is also known as alkylidine halides. Alkylidine halides. Okay, Isha. And here halogen atoms they are attached to 2 neighboring carbon atoms. So this is known as vicinal dihalide or alkylene dihalides. Then alkylidine halides and alkylene dihalides, both the examples I had given over here. So IUPAC name we write as per rule, but common name for common nomenclature we'll use these terminologies. Now after nomenclature, let me start with preparation of haloalkane compounds. So we prepare haloalkane from three different reagents: alcohols, hydrocarbon and by halogen exchange. Alcohols, hydrocarbon and by halogen exchange. So in alcohol we use different ways. First is by action of HX. HX we react with halogen. When we react halogen with HX, we'll get as a product, see from here OH minus get replaced by halogen. So the product form is RX plus H2O. Now this reaction proceeds in the presence of ZnCl2 catalyst to increase rate of the reaction. As you can see, primary, secondary, tertiary alcohol. Tertiary alcohol has highest reactivity, then secondary and then primary. So in case of primary and secondary we need catalyst ZnCl2. In case of tertiary alcohol even there is no any requirement of catalyst. Tertiary alcohol simply if you shake with HX then also you will get product very easily. Next is by action of NaI or Ki or NaBr. So alcohol if you treat with sodium or potassium iodide in presence of 95% phosphoric acid, then you will get alkyl iodide in very good yield. So this is the method we use generally if we want to synthesize alkyl iodide. ROH alcohol when you treat with sodium bromide in presence of sulfuric acid, then we'll get alkyl bromide. Yes, of course, in not that much good quantity as much we are getting in case of alkyl iodide, because alkyl iodide bond breakage is very easy. This is the most preferable reagent, thionyl chloride SOCl2. So alcohol when we react with thionyl chloride will get pure chloroalkane and two gaseous byproducts, which is sulfur dioxide and HCl. Why this is preferable reagent? So the byproducts which we obtain, both the byproducts, they are in gaseous state. So this remain easy for us to separate our pure chloroalkane because that is in solid form. And both the gaseous products, they escape from the reaction mixture. Next is by action of PX3 or PX5, that is PCl3 or PCl5. So when we treat alcohol with PX3, the product form is RX, that is haloalkane. Byproduct obtained over here, you have to keep this in mind, you have to remember this, because many times in complete the following reaction they ask both the reactions ROH plus PX3 and ROH plus PCl5 you are going to study in inorganic chemistry P block elements again. So the byproduct obtained is H3PO3, that is phosphorus acid. When you treat ROH with PCl5, the product form is haloalkane. Along with this, you will get two byproducts POCl3, phosphorus oxychloride, and HCl. Even when we treat alcohol with red phosphorus and halogen, then also we'll get bromoalkane and iodoalkane. Next is from hydrocarbon. So in case of hydrocarbon, the first reaction we are going to study, that is the one which you know already, that is halogenation of alkane. Now alkane general formula is CnH2n plus 2. Examples, if we take methane, ethane, propane, any of the alkane you take as reactant, to that will react with halogen, that is X2, in the presence of sunlight. So as you know that on the exposure of sunlight to dihalogen, they undergo homolytic cleavage, and this homolytic cleavage of dihalogen result in formation of free radical. So here we have formation of free radical. This free radical, they are very unstable, highly reactive species. Immediately they attack on the alkyl chain present and gives you CH3Cl. This way we have number of chlorine molecules present. This produce number of chlorine free radical. So they keep on attacking on the alkyl chain till they replace all the hydrogen by chlorine atom. And so this reaction ended at CCl4. So at the end of the reaction, if you take out the mixture, you will not get only CH3Cl, but you will get mixture of these products. So this is less useful method. Instead, if I have propane, now in case of propane, if we proceed with same reaction, then there are possibility of two different products, CH3CH2 CH2Cl or CH3CH CH3Cl. So here you see that we even have monosubstituted products which is more than one. So whenever we have this type of reaction, we'll get complex mixture of isomeric mono and poly haloalkane compounds. And these compounds are very difficult to separate because yield of any one product is very low in this case. So it's very difficult to separate out any one compound out of this mixture. Next type of reaction, that is from hydrocarbon for preparing haloalkane or haloarine compound, that is by electrophilic substitution. Whenever we discuss about electrophilic substitution, generally we'll take benzene ring. So benzene ring, when electrophile attack on the benzene ring is nucleophile, which is nucleus loving, because of that is having high density of electron present. Why? Because of three double bond present. Double bond, they are easily donating their electrons, so they are nucleus loving. They are electron donors, they are nucleus loving. And here electrophile generation is there. See, this is electrophile, this is positive in charge, this is electron acceptor. So this electrophile is going to attack on the electron rich benzene ring. So how we are getting this? So when we treat benzene ring in the presence of chlorine or bromine, in the presence of Lewis acid catalyst, iron catalyst, or Fe3 chloride, then at the end we are getting aryl chloride or aryl bromide. How? So this chlorine, when react with ferric chloride, producing electrophile. Now here when we have dye substitution, we'll get ortho or para isomers, and that you can easily separate out. Here also we'll get mono and dye substituted product, but these isomers, they are easily separable because of their melting point difference is more. So by this process, either I'll get aryl chloride or aryl bromide. If I want iodide, so in this case the reaction with iodine is irreversible. So what we need to do is, here required presence of oxidizing agent to oxidize HI formed during this reaction. When we react this with iodine, benzene plus iodine gives us product, but along with this we have formation of HI, and this resulting in reversible reaction. So here we require some oxidizing agent to oxidize HI formed during the reaction. For fluoro compounds, we need to use some different method, that is we need to treat toluene in presence of halogen with Fe catalyst, then we'll get fluoro compounds. The third and most important one, Sandmeyer reaction. Actually this is two different reaction. First step is diazotization, which was there in one paper I discussed with you, past paper. They asked diazotization reaction, so this is the diazotization reaction. This reaction you are going to study again when you study amines. And second step is actually Sandmeyer reaction. So first we'll study diazotization in this. Aniline, when you treat with sodium nitrite and HCl at 0 to 5 degrees Celsius temperature, this gives you benzene ring, which is substituted with N triple bond NCl, and this is benzene diazonium chloride, BDC. To this, when you treat with Cu2X2, cuprous halide, then you will get halobenzene. If you have cupric chloride, then you will get chlorobenzene. Cupric bromide, then you get bromobenzene. This is a Sand-Meyer reaction. This step BDC to halobenzene is a Sand-Meyer reaction. If I want iodobenzene, I will not get by Sand-Meyer reaction. So here I need to treat BDC with Ki, will get iodobenzene. This is not a Sand-Meyer. This is not a Sand-Meyer. Only this step BDC to chloro and bromobenzene is a Sand-Meyer reaction. In hydrocarbon only, fourth type, that is from alkene. Now from alkene, by two different way you will get your haloalkane. One by adding HX to the alkene. If you add HX to the alkene, this double bond get open up. At one position you have hydrogen and another position you have halogen substitution. Halogen addition. Same way if I take propane. Now here I have two different possibilities. Right, this double bond get open up. H add up over here and X add up over here, which result in formation of this product CH3, CH2, CH2X. Vice versa is also possible. H add up over here and X add up over here. Then in that case I'll get CH3, CHX, CH2, CH3. Now which one is present in higher quantity? So this we have to decide via Markovnikov's rule, that the one with the negative part of the reagent goes to the carbon having less number of hydrogen atom. So here this is the carbon with less number of hydrogen atom, and so halogen attack over here on this carbon atom. Second is addition of X2 to the alkene chain or hydrocarbon chain. So alkene, when I treat with dihalogen in the presence of CCl4, which is solvent over here, when we treat in presence of this, here double bond get open up and we have formation of vicinal dihalide. Actually this reaction is useful in practicals if we want to find out whether the compound is a saturated compound or unsaturated compound. This is last one by halogen exchange, and then I'm winding up with my session. So when we treat this with bromine water, then bromine water is brownish in color. At the end of this reaction, this bromine attach to the alkyl chain and convert into vicinal dibromide. Bromine is brownish in color, but when this converted to vicinal dibromide, that is colorless. So here we are getting disappearance of brown color during this reaction. The last one is by halogen exchange. In this we have two different reactions, Finkelstein and Schwarz reaction. Finkelstein, when we treat alkyl halide with sodium iodide in the presence of dry acetone, we'll get alkyl iodide, and when we treat alkyl halide with metallic fluorides, this reaction specifically for preparation of alkyl fluorides. That's it. Whether you have computer class or not, just write in chat box yes or no. Okay, computer class is not there. May I continue with this session? This no is for what? Those who have tuition, they leave. I'm continuing with this. So now we'll study about physical properties of halogen derivatives. So they are colorless compound when they are in pure state, but bromides and iodides, they develop color when they expose to light. Many of the volatile halogens, they have sweet smell, and this is the reason they are useful for various purposes. If we discuss about their melting point and boiling point, they are gaseous at room temperature. Lower members, they are gaseous, they are at room temperature, but when we go for higher members, then they are liquids or solids. Then either they are liquids or solids. Alkane and haloalkane, if we compare their melting point and boiling point, then in that case melting point and boiling point of haloalkane is more in comparison to alkane compounds. Because of alkane, they have only one kind of intermolecular force present, which is van der Waals force, while in case of haloalkane, along with van der Waals force, dipole forces are also present, which making interaction very strong between two molecules, and so higher energy is required to break those bonds. For same alkyl groups, if we take different halogens, so as per the rule that as atomic number increases, number of electrons also increases. This result in increase in magnitude of van der Waals bond, and so iodides, they have highest melting and boiling point values than in that case of alkyl fluorides. For isomeric haloalkane, if we see, then in that case tertiary and iso, they have least boiling point melting point value in comparison to normal haloalkane. And ortho meta para, if we compare, then para has highest, then ortho, and then meta. Density, if we discuss, then density also increases as atomic mass of the halogen increases, and so alkyl iodide has highest density, alkyl fluoride has least. Solubility, again this is one very important question. In solubility, though they are polar, their solubility is less in water and more in organic solvents. So why? So if we discuss about that, then this is because there is solvation enthalpy which is involved, right? That solvation enthalpy over here is less, that should be more. Then we'll discuss about optical isomerism, but before we start with optical isomerism, we need to discuss certain terminologies. Chiral center, asymmetrical carbon or chiral carbon, or stereo center. All these terms we use to locate carbon which is attached to all the four different groups, and that carbon is known as asymmetrical carbon. Of course, here carbon is sp3 hybridized, so shape of the compound is tetrahedral, but all the four groups attached to the carbon, they are different. Then another term we are going to use, PPL, plane polarized light. Actually the light source which we use, that is polarized light. Now using Nicol prism, or to this we also say Polaroid, we convert this polarized light into plane polarized light, which has vibrations only in one direction. So this light is known as plane polarized light. Question regarding this was also there. So the chiral carbon is must for optical activity, and those compounds who can able to rotate plane of PPL, they are known as optically active compound. So how to check? So this is the arrangement, experimental arrangement, to find out whether the compound is optically active or not. This instrumentation is known as polarimeter. This is your answer for the question asked in 2020 paper. So polarimeter is the instrument which we use to find out whether the compound is optically active or not. So here is my polar source. I am using Polaroid, converting that in plane polarized light. To this plane polarized light, we are passing through the solution for which I want to find out whether the compound is optically active or not. If this rotate plane of if this rotate PPL, plane of PPL, then this is optically active. If this is not rotating plane of PPL, then this is optically inactive. So once I find out whether this is optically active or not, this is of two different types, either dextrorotatory or levorotatory. Based on which side that is rotating plane of PPL, that is either dextrorotatory or levorotatory. Plus or small d we use to represent dextrorotatory, and minus or small l we use to represent levorotatory compounds. Now, one very fact thing about these isomers, that if this is the arrangement, if I keep mirror in between and if I draw the mirror image, then if this is dextrorotatory, mirror image is always levorotatory. And so these two are known as mirror images of each other. Now if I try to superimpose them on each other, so you can clearly see they are non-superimposable compounds. So non-superimposable mirror images, they are known as enantiomers. Non-superimposable mirror images, they are known as enantiomers. See these compounds very carefully. Compound 1 and 2, they are mirror images of each other. Compound 3 and 4, if you see, they are also mirror images of each other. 1 and 3, if you compare, they are isomers of each other, but they are not mirror images of each other. They are isomers of each other, but not mirror images. Same way 1 and 4, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, these are isomers, but they are not mirror images of each other. So 1 and 2, they are isomers and even they are mirror images, but not superimposable. So 1 and 2, they are enantiomers. Same way 3 and 4, they are enantiomers. What about 1 and 3? So 1 and 3, they are non-superimposable, not mirror images, and they are known as diastereomers. One another type of isomerism over here, that is meso compound. Now what is this meso compound? So here you can see, here this is a compound. In between, if I keep mirror like this, the upper part is mirror image of lower part and lower part is mirror image of upper part. So this compound is known as meso compound, where you can find this type of mirror images. Then capital D and capital L type of nomenclature. As we discussed earlier, small d and small l you find out only by experimental method. Looking at the structure, you can't decide whether the compound is dextrorotatory or levorotatory. While capital D and capital L we decide looking at the compound. If in the compound OH is present on left hand side, then that is we are using symbol capital L. If this is present on right hand side, then we are using symbol capital D. So from this we decide whether compound is capital D or capital L. If hydroxy group is present on RHS, D, and if hydroxy group is present on the left hand side, then that is capital L. If we have compound with more than one carbon atom, like in this case, and that too also chiral compounds, then how to decide here whether this is capital D or capital L? So in that case we decide that by position of hydroxyl group on last chiral carbon. That we decide by position of hydroxyl group on last chiral carbon. Here if this is on left side, this is capital L, and if this is on right side, that is capital D. Racemic mixture is also one of the important term. So if I have one mixture where I have 50% dextrorotatory compound and 50% levorotatory compound, then that type of mixture is known as racemic mixture. Now here the mixture is optically inactive, though that contain dextrorotatory and levorotatory compound which are optically active. But whole mixture is optically inactive because this rotate right side by theta angle. the same theta angle this rotate by on left side, so total rotation is 0, and so racemic mixture is always optically inactive. Here I am ending my today's session. If you have any query regarding chemical reactions, message me in advance, then we'll plan our tomorrow's session in that way.